If you're hearing this episode around the time it comes out, it means I'm taking some time off after the birth of my son. I've recorded these ahead of time and will most likely not be available on social media for the next few weeks. But you can still get the story behind twice a week if you're subscribed to the podcast. Consider this series to be like a substitute teacher. We won't go as in-depth as in previous episodes, but we'll briefly touch on a number of different topics in each show. This series focuses on Billy Joel's song, "We Didn't Start the Fire," and the headline-making events and people he mentions. Some content may not be suitable for all listeners. I'm your host, Emily Prokop, and this is the story behind 1959 to 1960. Buddy Holly was born in 1936 as Charles Hardin Holly and was a singer in the band The Crickets. He's most notable for his hits Peggy Sue and That'll Be the Day. Unfortunately, his career was cut short when he was killed in a plane crash with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens in 1959. The plane crash is what's referred to in Don McLean's 1971 song American Pie as the day the music died. Ben-Hur was an epic historical drama set in the time of Christ, starring Charlton Heston as the title character. It was adapted from the 1880 novel Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ, and it was a remake of the 1925 silent movie of the same name. Winning a record 11 Academy Awards, it became the second highest grossing film at the time, the first being 1939's Gone with the Wind. Monkeys and apes have been sent into space since 1948 for scientists to study the biological effects of space travel on humans. But the first time it was done successfully was with Abel, a rhesus monkey, and Miss Baker, a squirrel monkey, who survived being sent into space and returning to Earth in 1959. The monkeys were sent at 16,000 kilometers per hour aboard the Jupiter AM-18. It's hard to tell what Mafia refers to in We Didn't Start the Fire, since this group of lyrics is based on 1959, but the best I can tell is this refers to the aftermath of the famous Appalachian meeting held by the mafioso members of the United States, Italy, and Cuba in 1957. The goal was to effectively organize the various activities better, such as loans, narcotics trafficking, and gambling, but authorities became suspicious when they began seeing a number of expensive cars driving to upstate New York with out-of-town license plates, and the meeting ended in a raid that became national news, bringing awareness to the extent to which the mafia existed in America. Hula hoops were originally popular in Australia, and in 1958, Wham-O Company, known for selling slingshots, began manufacturing twirling hoops, and the fad took off, especially when Alvin from the Chipmunks sang in December's Christmas Don't Be Late how he wants a hula hoop. By October of 1959, the fad had died out almost as quickly as it came, but not after an estimated 100 million hula hoops were sold. Every decade since, though, it seems hula hoops find another resurgence in popularity. Fidel Castro was sworn in as Prime Minister of Cuba on February 16, 1959, following the revolution that overthrew dictator Fulgencio Batista. His stance against America and its influence in Cuba helped him win favor with citizens, and Cuba soon became the first communist state in the West. He stepped down in 2008, and on November 25, 2016, at the age of 90, he died. Ford was competing with General Motors for the #1 car manufacturer in America, and in 1957 began touting a new division called Edsel. Not just touting it, it was more like hyping it as the greatest innovation to happen to cars. Never-before-seen features like a rolling dome speedometer and teletouch shifting, which was controlled by buttons on the steering wheel, was supposed to make the Edsel, named after Harry Ford's son, a hit. But the hype wasn't enough to popularize the car, or to make up for its poor workmanship due to Ford using existing manufacturing resources instead of building new facilities. And this led to many models being delivered to dealerships with tags attached to the steering wheels listing the parts missing. Only 64,000 were sold the first year, and by the third year, Ford finally stopped making the Edsel. Since 1956, the CIA was sending spy planes over the Soviet Union, and U.S. spy planes were used to take pictures and gather information. On May 1, 1960, U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers disappeared while making one of these missions. Powers was instructed to kill himself should anything happen, and the plane was equipped with mechanisms that would render it unrecognizable. When Eisenhower issued a statement to cover the disappearance by saying a weather plane had gone off course and possibly crashed in the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev countered the statement, with not only Powers being taken alive and taken as a prisoner, but the plane itself was recognizable as a spy plane, leading Eisenhower to admit what he had done. Coincidentally, U2 singer Bono was born days after the incident, but neither he nor the band have confirmed the true origin of the band's name. Syngman Rhee was elected first president of South Korea in 1948 and stayed in power throughout the Korean War, but a student uprising led to him being overthrown in 1960. Payola is the practice of disc jockeys taking money in exchange for playing certain records more than others, which would increase record sales. When it was brought to the attention of the grand jury, broadcasting companies had their DJs sign affidavits denying taking part in it. However, national DJ Alan Freed was convicted of taking the bribes. John F. Kennedy was elected 35th President of the United States in 1960, becoming the youngest president to hold the office. He was known for confronting Cold War tensions, as well as his support of civil rights, leading to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Chubby Checker was a singer born in 1941, and in 1960 his cover of Hank Ballard's The Twist climbed to number 1 on the Billboard charts. The dance became a national fad for teenagers and adults alike, making rock and roll more accessible for the older generation. The iconic theme song from Psycho was included in We Didn't Start the Fire as Billy Joel sings the name of the Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's now known as one of Hitchcock's best films, even earning 4 Academy Award nominations, which sounds strange for a movie considered one of the earliest examples of the slasher film genre. The Democratic Republic of the Congo was originally the Belgian Congo, a Belgian colony since 1908, and gained independence in 1960. However, the following 5 years were filled with instability in government and war, known as the Congo Crisis, which resulted in 100,000 deaths. Thanks for listening to The Story Behind. In the next episode, we'll explore the years of 1961 through 1963, as referenced in Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire. For more information, visit thestorybehindpodcast.com, and you can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at StoryBehindPod. But I can't promise any updates since I'm currently on baby break. But be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. Thanks for listening.